the flight, and local police now confirm there's at least one survivor. Chris Livesay has the latest developments.
This video captures the Boeing jet's last seconds in the sky, taking off in India, bound for London, when it loses altitude and bursts into a huge fireball. The Air India flight went down in a residential area in the western city of Ahmedabad, fueled for a 4,000-mile journey to the UK.
So it was leaving with a full capacity of fuel. So we're looking at about 130 tons of fuel that were on the aircraft. That caused a massive explosion, and as a result, the damage on the scene will be intense.
The plane was carrying passengers from Canada, Britain, Portugal, and India, and they were all heading here to London's Gatwick Airport.
My thoughts, and I'm sure those of the entire House, are with those who've been affected by the tragic plane crash in India.
India's civil aviation says pilots issued a mayday right after takeoff and lost its signal less than a minute into the flight. The tail of the 787 Dreamliner is resting on top of what CBS News has verified is a hospital. Reuters news agency says at least 30 bodies have been recovered from a building where the plane crashed, and many more people are trapped inside. The National Transportation Safety Board is headed to India to lead a team of U.S. investigators helping pinpoint what caused the crash. Chris Livesay, CBS News, London.
Back in the U.S., a U.S. senator was forcibly removed by a Trump administration official's news conference on the White House's response to the unrest in Los Angeles. Elise Preston has more.
Have tried to insert into our city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Federal agents forcibly removed California Senator Alex Padilla from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's news conference in Los Angeles Thursday after he interrupted her.
I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate.
A spokesperson for Padilla says he was handcuffed at one point but is not currently detained.
If this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers.
Noem went to Los Angeles in support of the Marines and National Guard troops the Trump administration called in to protect federal buildings and personnel in Los Angeles as anti-ICE protests continue.
I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security.
The Trump administration says of the hundreds of undocumented migrants arrested in the LA area since operations began on Friday, about a third have prior criminal records. At an event Thursday, President Trump acknowledged the toll his immigration policy is having on the farming and hotel industries.
You know, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that.
The president said changes will be coming, but did not elaborate. Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz gave a passionate speech on the Senate floor today after seeing the way his colleague was treated by federal agents in LA.
This is the stuff of dictatorships. It is actually happening. A United States senator was manhandled, shoved to the ground, and cuffed. He identified himself. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. That should be enough. That should be enough. A United States senator who is, by the way, protected by the speech and debate clauses of the Constitution of the United States and a specific statute that allows him to oversee immigration facilities. And he says, I'm a senator and I have a question. And to Chris Murphy's point, they said, well, he was being disrespectful. Being disrespectful is legal. Being disrespectful is American.
Schatz went on to say that other than the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, he has never been so outraged at the conduct of an administration. Well, a terrifying encounter for one woman in Waikiki. HPD tells us the 31-year-old was in the restroom at the Hilton Waikiki Beach Hotel when she was pushed into a stall by a man who then allegedly tried to sexually assault her. This happened Tuesday afternoon at around 3:30. She said she screamed and the man took off, but he was picked up by police a short time after. The 44-year-old man now faces charges of attempted sexual assault and kidnapping. An Oahu man accused of trying to kill both of his parents with a hammer on Sunday is now locked up at OCCC. But as Ben Gutierrez spoke to experts who, after looking at his online trail, said he may belong in a psychiatric hospital.
Suppose we could disintegrate other planets like Mars. I think it's possible, and I'm working on it. Even if aliens aren't real, I still want to be ready in case we gotta kill them.
London Opendak posted this video of himself talking about fighting aliens a day before he allegedly attacked his parents in Waikiki, leaving them both in serious condition. And he posted this video about a week before that.
During COVID, I got real mad at myself once, and I punched a mirror. I told them I needed stitches, and they refused me as a patient. I went to the emergency room. They wouldn't treat me. I have this scar here, thanks to the great people of the slum of Hilo.
Opendak was reported missing in Hilo in 2021. Court records show he was arrested and charged in 2022 with disorderly conduct and harassment for an assault in Puna, but he was released after his mental examination determined he wasn't mentally fit for trial.
A part of me was thinking, did the system fail him here? Because he was deemed unfit to stand trial. Then what?
Licensed mental health counselor Joseph Hakim says the postings, including rambling and sometimes illegible writings, show that Opendak needed a higher level of care.
I see somebody who is crying for help. I mean, these online postings, I see somebody who's sad, lonely, and wanting help.
Goldbach said in his puzzle, by the way, that 1, 2, and 3 are consecutive primes. 4 is the first of infinite higher even numbers.
There is a mental health concern. We don't know exactly what it is. He'll have to be assessed, but it does seem bipolar, schizophrenia adjacent.
With the surrogate time travel effect.
A friend who wanted to remain anonymous says Opendak had recently quit his job to focus on his writing, but didn't show any signs that he was going to attack his parents. And his social media posts can't be used if he goes to trial.
Those are very shocking and disturbing, but not illegal, and you cannot be arrested or charged for a crime for those.
Attorney Megan Cow also says under the rules of evidence, these posts would be considered hearsay. However, they might be used to see if he is mentally fit to stand trial.
Do you understand evil?
If he's seeking a 3-panel, which I'm sure he's going to do, then that evidence can be used and reviewed by the 3 doctors to determine, number 1, if he's fit to proceed, and number 2, if he was penally responsible.
And that's Ben Gutierrez reporting. A restraining order against UFC Hall of Famer BJ Penn will remain in place until November. It says Penn must immediately move out of the home he shares with his mother in Hilo. She filed for the TRO last month after he allegedly assaulted her. Penn refused to sign the new document and is due back in court in 1 week. Prosecutors want him to undergo a court-ordered mental health exam. A sharp rise in deaths connected to meth in Hawaii, the highest in 5 years. As our chief investigative reporter Lynn Kawano explains, the climb is mostly happening in one county, but there is some good news in the data.
Only Honolulu saw a rise in all categories of drug-related deaths. The other counties either stayed flat or saw a decrease.
Let's get an update on direction.
The neighbor islands are showing progress in the fight to curb fatal overdoses. The death count has held steady for 2 years as the Narcotics Vice Division targets the influx, especially the movement of fentanyl. It's part of the reason why a new report by the Hawaii High Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Program shows some positive results. Last year, Kauai saw a 10% decrease of drug-related deaths overall, 27 from 30 the the year before. The Big Island was flat in every category. Maui County saw a 27% drop, but Honolulu went up almost 10%, with 244 victims from 220.
It's very tragic, but unfortunately, it's not surprising. Every day we respond, EMS paramedics and EMTs respond to a patient who admits to doing some type of drug.
Deaths involving fentanyl saw the biggest drop statewide. Kauai and Maui cut the numbers almost in half from 2023. Again, Honolulu was the only county with an increase. Still, an overall statewide decline is a victory. Hawaii Haida credits the availability of Narcan, law enforcement operations to intercept fentanyl, and public awareness campaigns.
I think our educators, our social service providers, our prevention people, the Department of Attorney General Drug Prevention team, my team, the Hawaii Haida drug prevention specialists, are doing a bang-up job working directly with the schools, the youth, and I think it's paying off.
Meth, however, continues to plague the islands. 266 people in Hawaii died in 2024 from meth-related health conditions, compared to 222 the year before. That's up nearly 20%. Honolulu again led the charge, up more than 25%.
Meth is probably more scary than fentanyl at this point in time because it is increasing, and there's no chemical treatment for methamphetamine addiction.
I don't want to say it's been pushed to the side, but fentanyl has been the focus. We need to sort of shift now back to what is tragically causing people to die, but also tragically destroying lives.
I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
And happy Thursday, everybody. We're going to start off our first alert weather forecast by taking a live look over at Kilauea and Halemaumau crater. You can still see some fog coming out of the vent right there. Of course, the eruption yesterday that had got up to 1,000 feet in the air, really tall, is now again on pause. Yesterday was episode 25 of the eruption. And again, we're still tracking the fog out there over near Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. So let's take a look at our current air quality across the state. Believe it or not, the entire state right now is in the green, except the areas that are just around Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. This is from the Hawaii State Department of Health website. Everywhere else right now is considered good air quality. So in the green elsewhere besides just surrounding the national park. Our first alert fog forecast, you're only going to find this on air here at Hawaii News Now. You can see the overall plume of fog moving off to the west and southwest because of these breezy trades we're expecting this weekend. So luckily, we're not seeing all of that fog moving over Maui County, Oahu, and Kauai. Luckily, we've got the trade winds. It's summertime. We're seeing the trade winds a lot more than what we see in the wintertime. And you can see not much impacts for the rest of the state, except the areas that are just downwind of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, South Point, and the entirety of the Kona coast of Hawaii Island. I'll give you a closer look at this and my weekend forecast.
Thank you, Drew. Ahead on This Is Now, Hawaii Keiki can now get free summer meals at dozens of public schools across the state. What families need to know, plus this.
Israel could be getting ready to launch an operation in Iran. I'm Natalie Brand with what the U.S. government is doing in response.
Welcome back. Free summer meals are back at dozens of public schools across the state starting today. Kids 18 and under can get breakfast and lunch Monday through Friday. Sign-ups are not required and children do not need to be enrolled in public school. Meals must be eaten on campus. For a list of participating campuses, head to our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. UH Maui College is offering free carpentry classes. Now, in the week-long course, students will learn how to build storage sheds for wildfire survivors. Participants will be taught how to properly use professional tools and equipment, framing, roofing, siding, and painting. Once the 8x12 sheds are completed, they're going to be transported to Lahaina or Kula and gifted to a survivor. The head of the program, Mike Young, is a survivor himself.
It's also a pathway class that students from taking this class going straight into like the carpenter's apprenticeship programs. A bunch of students actually is working right now in Lahaina that got picked up by contractors.
Classes are open for anyone in high school or older, and no experience is necessary. If you want to register for the course, or if you are a fire survivor who wants a shed, look for the link on our website. A paddle out honoring legendary waterman Clyde Aikau has been scheduled for June 26th in Waikiki. The Aikaus are inviting the public to join them at the Hula Mound by the Duke Kahanamoku statue at 7:45 in the morning. Aikau was 75 years old when he died at his Waimanalo home last month. He was the youngest of 6 siblings, including Eddie Aikau, who was lost at sea back in 1978. Organizers say loose flowers are preferred, but if you bring a lei, you must remove the string before throwing it into the ocean. The U.S. government is telling Americans within striking distance of Iranian forces to move out of the Middle East as tensions escalate between Iran and Israel. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
Sources tell CBS News that Israel is ready to launch an operation in Iran, triggering concern Iran could retaliate on U.S. sites in neighboring Iraq. The State Department ordered non-emergency U.S. personnel to leave Iraq, citing heightened regional tensions, and the Pentagon has authorized military family members to voluntarily leave locations throughout the Middle East.
We have a lot of American people in this area, and I said, we got to tell them to get out because something could happen soon. And I don't want to be the one that didn't give any warning.
The alert comes as the Trump administration special envoy to the Middle East is expected to meet for a 6th round of talks with Iran about a potential nuclear deal.
I'd love to avoid the conflict. Iran's going to have to negotiate a little bit tougher, meaning they're going to have to give us some things that they're not willing to give us right now.
President Trump has said he will not accept any uranium enrichment by Iran. Iranian leaders say they want to enrich for civilian power plants. Just today, the UN's nuclear watchdog agency said Iran is not complying with its nuclear obligations. A recent report showed increased stockpiles of near weapons-grade uranium.
Iran is at the enrichment point with uranium higher than they've ever been.
CBS News contributor Andrew Boyd is the former chief of operations for the CIA's Counterterrorism Mission Center.
Iran is in a fairly weak position. The problem is I do not think that the Israeli military could sustain a war with Iran without U.S. support, and I think the Trump administration is not interested in joining the Israelis currently in a war with Iran.
CBS News has learned the Trump administration, as of now, is not planning a joint strike with Israel, but is weighing support options such as intelligence sharing. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about the stronger trades we're expecting this weekend and a few morning showers.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Happy Thursday, everybody. One day closer to Friday. We're almost to the weekend. We've got stronger trade winds expected out there on Saturday and Sunday. A few showers, but most of those will be sprinkles, mostly over Malca locations and in the early morning, drying out throughout each afternoon. Of course, a quick look at our exclusive First Alert VOG forecast. You're only going to find this on air here at Hawaii News Now. Of course, this data is courtesy of our friends over at UH Manoa. You can see the overall VOG plume from the eruption yesterday, episode 25, moving off to the west and southwest of Hawaii Island, impacting the areas just downwind of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, not really impacting the rest of the island chain. Taking a look at your Aloha Friday island by island forecast. This is for Kauai, scattered showers, mostly sunny conditions. Northeasterlies between 10 to 15 miles per hour, moving down to Oahu, 87 in town, 86 in Kapolei, 81 in Kaneohe. Again, better chance for windward showers out there. Spotty showers and mostly sunny conditions over Maui County. A little bit breezy out there. Some wind gusts getting closer to 25 miles per hour and above. And look at those high temps. 88 in Kahului and 89 in Kihei. And then over on the Kona side of Hawaii Island, especially with the eruption yesterday, very foggy out there. 85 in Kona and some widespread fog over the southwestern portions of the island. The eastern portions of Hawaii Island, showers are likely, mostly cloudy out there and windy on the northern portions of Hawaii Island. Northeasterlies between 15 to 25 miles per hour, sometimes gusting close to 30 miles per hour. You can see in our First Alert Windcast, winds are going to get stronger over the next couple of afternoons. This is Friday afternoon, between 15 to 25 miles per hour across the state. Again, these are sustained winds. Those wind gusts could get closer to 20 miles per hour and above. A similar story expected on Saturday. And we're going to be seeing a very similar First Alert radar and satellite over the next couple of days. Right now, we're really not seeing much out there. A few sprinkles, if anything. Zooming in closer to Oahu over the last hour, a few sprinkles along the Ko'olau. We are seeing this one cell that's moving over the Ko'olau. We might see a few showers in town over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Maui County, relatively quiet. Similar on Hawaii Island, and over on Kauai it's been relatively dry as well. We are seeing a little bit of cloud cover over the Malca locations of the island, and because we're not seeing the full picture with the radar here, we might be seeing some Malca showers out there. We are still tracking the tropics a little bit closer out in the eastern Pacific. Potential tropical cyclone 4E has been named by the National Hurricane Center. This system is expected to develop into a tropical storm and then move off towards the northwest. Really not expected to impact us here in the island chain. And a quick look at our surf and shoreline forecast. West and south facing shores small for this afternoon. Choppy out there on east facing shores. And here's your 7-day forecast. Again, Father's Day coming up on Sunday. Don't forget Dad. Make sure you get a gift for him. 87 over the next couple of days, and windy as we're going into Father's Day weekend.
Thank you, Drew. Still to come, a new instant ramen flavor is launching just in time for summer. Details in 2 minutes.
this, a unique weather forecast in Tennessee where it was apparently raining fish.
What?
A Tennessee EMS crew caught a different kind of action on the job this week. When a fish landed on their ambulance, the crew heard a loud thud on the roof, and then a few more thuds. When they pulled over to check it out, they found a bluegill fish still alive and flapping around. The crew believes that a hawk or another bird had a hold of the fish and dropped it mid-flight. So we're going to start issuing fish warnings.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the AR for
Yes,
that.
it'll be fun. And do you like pickles? The sweet and sour taste is entering a new frontier.
That's right. Ramen. Instant ramen maker Cup Noodles is releasing a new dill pickle version, hoping to capitalize on the apparent pickle trend that's taking over social media. The new product combines the flavors of the noodles with the tangy and sour taste of a pickle in a microwavable cup. The new flavor goes on sale for a limited time starting June 21st.
Pickle trend? I haven't heard of that.
I haven't either.
I'm out of it.
We're not that cool. Thanks for watching, everybody.